Good morning, everybody, and I hope everybody's having a great Thursday. As most of you know, I am in Naples, Italy, not Florida. I'm a little jet lagged, but I'm keeping up with the videos. This video should pretty much catch us up on most of this stuff, but gosh, there's a lot. So let's just jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. I'm going to start off by saying a big thank you to Maureen for sending me the items you're looking at off of my Amazon wish list. Thank you so much. So generous. All right, let's jump into our stories for today. There is a lot. All right, we're going to start off with King Charles and Queen Camilla, just letting you know that they were spotted attending Sunday service in Scotland one day after the funeral of the Pope. They both look really, really good. Let's keep going. Let's move on now to the Duke of Kent, who was seen honoring young awardees of the King's Scout Award, which is the highest recognition in scouting, adventure, and skill development. And this took place at Windsor Castle. It has been 50 years. That's a long time that the king has been involved in scouting. All right, let's keep going. All right, let's move on to Sophie, the Duchess, Secret Weapon Sophie. And I may not have these engagements in the right order, but one of her engagements was to visit the Princess Margaret Hospital in Windsor. Of course, she took a tour, she unveiled a plaque, she got some gorgeous flowers, the usual stuff that Sophie does. And then she was at her next engagement, which took place on April 28th. Sophie went to Aldershot, where she went to visit and open the latest hub of the Lighthouse, which is a charity that helps and encourages people in need. She is patron of the organization. So, of course, Sophie met volunteers and spoke with some of the guests who have already received practical support from the center. She also unveiled a plaque to mark the opening, and towards the end, she planted a raspberry bush to celebrate the importance of cultivating community-based initiative. She looks lovely. And this place has hubs across Surrey and other areas. Love it. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us everything she was wearing. Let's keep going. Next, we have the message that was sent from King Charles to people in Vancouver after the tragic events that took place at the festival there. All right, let's move on to Princess Anne. She was seen walking around with her former daughter-in-law, Autumn, at some horse trials. They apparently were there to help support Zara. I think it's nice that they've kept a good relationship. All right, next up we have Andrew. Oh, he broke cover. He left his house. He was driving, and Sarah was in the car with him. I get the feeling people expect him to just stay in his house like he's a hermit and never come out. I don't get that. All right, next up, articles are coming out that Harry is really unhappy. He really wants to try to reconnect with his family. We all know he's going about it the wrong way. But what's coming out are reports that Meghan wants to be the bridge. She wants to be the savior. She has this savior complex. And she wants to be the quote-unquote bigger person and try to fix things. The problem is she caused the problem. The only way to fix it is to apologize, which she'll never do. The really sad, pathetic thing about the entire situation is Harry was the one who sat on the Oprah show and said that William and Charles were trapped and he had sympathy for that. It turns out that actually, karma, he's the one that's trapped. Now, every time something goes wrong for Meghan or she gets criticism, she turns to her Instagram and she puts up pictures of the kids or little videos of the kids. Their joke. She only shows the back of their hair or, the side of their face. She changes their hair color. It's gone from brown to black to red to blonde, back to auburn. She photo corrects and changes everything about the kids. And since she's going on and on about the kids' privacy, I have yet to figure out why in the world she's using Instagram to put up these pictures of her kids. It doesn't help. People are really at the point, including me, I really don't care what her kids look like. I could go all day without ever seeing her children. Seriously. People are so over it and they're over her. Now, this person on Twitter said that somebody else has seen the kids, and sure enough, she's changing the color of their hair on Instagram. And this person on Twitter put it down perfectly. Here is the two photos, not color corrected, and you can see that her daughter does not have red hair. Frankly, it's a little weird for me because when you look on Meghan's Instagram, every single picture is of Meghan. This is nothing but an Instagram love me account. You know what I'm saying? Worship me. Oh, here we go. Harry is upset because on April 28th, it would have been the 19th anniversary of Harry officially launching Simpsonville, which he is no longer involved in due to what's going on. Okay, whatever. Now, next up, I told you guys before that Meghan pulls the strings behind the scenes. She got that Alex Benesford guy to attack Piers. Well, now she's got Chef Jose Andres speaking out in defense of them, saying they're such an amazing couple and they're so wonderful and they're friends and I can only talk about the good that they do, etc., etc., etc. When the Karens aren't rolling, they're listening to people and they make them feel so important, etc., etc., etc. But that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? On Meghan Markle's last Times 100 interview, she said, I had to put boundaries in place for my own mental health. I had to stay offline. She's not offline. She's on Instagram. And let me tell you something. She is totally paying attention to everything that everybody is saying about her, the kids, her family, her father, her attitude, these fake tours they go on. Everything is out there, okay? And it's all out there because she has been called a dictator in tears. She terrifies her staff. She's reduced grown men to tears. She sent people into therapy. And these aren't just people in the United States. These are people also over in the UK. They're calling her Duchess Difficult. You don't lose 20 some odd staff members in 5 years on both sides of the pond. You don't have a Sussex Survivors Club. You don't have everybody talking about you unless there's something wrong behind the scenes. You can deny it till you're blue in the face, but it doesn't change anything. And having your friends speak out on your behalf to tell people what an amazing person you are, nobody's paying attention. Because actions speak louder than words. And everybody has watched how you've treated your staff. They've watched how you've treated your father, how you've treated and talked about your sister. And people know how you treated Jessica Maroney, how you treated the royal family. And now you can't get out of it. You know what I'm saying? She can't get out of it. So what does she do? She gives an interview. Meghan Markle goes on this interview with, again, it's her good friend, Jamie Kern-Lima, who she has not met since she married Harry, another friend that wouldn't know who the hell she was had she not married who she did. So basically what Meghan said is she sends secret emails to her kids for them to read when they're older. She said it was a great time capsule. I created these little email addresses and I'll give them at some point. And I email them every night. And she goes, I include pictures like their report cards. It's my love language. And it's the smaller gestures that make a difference. I'm just so proud of them, she said. Please keep in mind now that by saying this, what she's basically done is turn this all about her. I will be seen as the perfect mother. Look what I'm doing. I'm sending emails. You get it? So the next thing that happens is Jamie goes, I have an email for you that you've never seen. It's from your children via your husband. And let me read it to you. We love your cooking. We love your pancakes. And we love, love, love your hugs. You're the best mummy. And we love you. And she goes, oh, it's so sweet. And I love that it's mummy instead of mommy because it's so British. So she starts crying and she goes, this is what it's so nice not to wear makeup because she didn't have any makeup on this day. And then the next thing she said tells me that she absolutely watches the YouTubers and what's being read on social media. This is what she said. Quote, we spend so much of our life trying to prove something, to prove that you're enough, that you're pretty enough, that you have to prove that you're smart enough, that you're a good wife, a good enough friend. I was just so done with the prove it game. And if you can't see it, I don't have to prove it to you. It's your loss because I know that I'm a great friend. And you know, the kind of mom that I am and the kind of human that I am, I know I show up and I love being able to be that person with the people I love. Maybe part of worthiness comes from when you stop having to feel like you're in the game to prove it. Of course, she talked about as ever, there's a lot in development. Hostess gifts and hospitality is a big category. We're really developing it. And of course, there's going to be sneaker drops and jam drops, blah, blah, blah. Now, of course, she also is addressing the rumors of their marriage, saying that Harry and her will be married forever. And then she said this.
I feel like it's more of a honeymoon period for us now. He's also a fox, if you haven't noticed. My husband's very, very handsome.
First of all, I don't think anybody in the world is jealous of her husband. Second of all, he ain't all that in a bag of chips. And third of all, who the hell uses the term fox? My husband's a fox. Oh my God. Of course, she took a swipe at the royal family. She couldn't help herself. She goes, you know how it is in the beginning? It's all butterflies. But then immediately we went into the trenches right out of the gate, like 6 months into dating. But now, 7 years later, you have a bit more breathing space and you can just enjoy each other in a new way. And that's why I feel it's more of a honeymoon period for us now. In other words, everything is fine in the marriage. Everything is good. Don't worry. So as I said, she controls her friends do her bidding. And of course, this interview is being released, wouldn't you know it, on the eve of William and Catherine's wedding anniversary. Who here thinks that's just a coincidence? Because it's not. Just like Jose Andres came out in her defense. Just like we found out that the weatherman attacked Piers in Meghan's defense. And then we come to find out they're friends behind the scenes. What she hasn't figured out yet is how to fix the problem. So since I think she's listening to the YouTubers, hopefully she's listening to me. Here's how you can fix the problem. You're going to have to reconnect with your dad. You're going to have to reconnect with your brother. You're going to have to reconnect with your sister. You're going to have to let your dad meet your children. That's number one. Number two, you're going to have to apologize to the royal family for all the nasty things you said about them. Number three, you're going to have to prove that you can hang on to staff longer than 3 months, or okay, let's be honest, more than a year. But so far that hasn't happened. But these are the things you're going to have to do if you want people to change their thought process. And of course, she'll never do them. So in this entire interview, we must have heard from Jamie 1,000 times what a wonderful friend Meghan is. And of course, you didn't hear anything worth discussing. You only heard weird platitudes and self-love. That's all you heard. Meghan also wants you to believe she didn't have makeup on, but look at the color difference between her hand and her forehead. I do think she had some bronzer on to make her look a little darker. That's just my personal opinion. A big thank you to this person from Twitter for pointing out that you get the same vibes from her every time she does this crying thing. Now, this friend of hers, Jamie, is a very good friend. And when this was over, Meghan sent her a gift basket to thank her. And that kicked off something else because there is a note in the gift basket and she signed the note HRH, the Duchess of Sussex. Now, we all know that due to the Sandringham Agreement, she and Harry are not allowed to use their HRHs. They were not stripped from them because they agreed not to use them. They were placed into abeyance. They were not to use them for commercial ventures, for private ventures. They simply weren't allowed to use them. But of course, Meghan can't help herself. This is just like with, using the shop me to try to get George and Charlotte's clothing. She's poking at the bear. She's poking at the royal family to see how far she can go until they attack. Because the royal family have nothing to do with her. They're not talking about them and they're falling down the hill. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, I'm just going to poke them until they do something, until they react. And then when they react, I can play victim again. But what it comes down to is her children are not royal. They'll never know the royal family. They'll never have anything to do with the royal family. Well, I should tell you, it didn't take long for the backlash. People pointed out that they were absolutely not allowed to use the HRH. And so a spokesperson for Harry and Meghan swiftly addressed the speculation, confirming that they do not use their HRH titles, even though there's no formal legal removal. Okay, there was no formal legal removal. Obviously, they're using them because she put it on the card. I think they went too far, you know what I'm saying? And now they're trying to back up. Next up, Meghan's next podcast, by the way, dropped. I couldn't listen to it. It's the same woman, the Jamie woman. It's like, well, you came on my podcast, so now I have to come on yours, sort of thing. You get what I'm saying? And one of the first things she did was claim that the reason she couldn't get roles was because she was a black woman. She pulled the race card again. Wah, wah, whiny. And this is the problem, because when you lie and you can't remember your lies, she had said before that she had never been treated as a woman of color, a black woman, and she had never experienced racism or had to have any conversations with anybody before the British press made it an issue. So she can't even remember her own story. Truth be known, she was a rotten actress. And that's why she didn't get any of the parts. All right, you guys. Listen, if you want to know what's going on with my vacation, I'm putting videos up on my other channel. The link for that is down in the description box, along with the links to my Twitter, Gettr, Rumble, email, Amazon wish list, and my father's book, which is still up for sale. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.